Yesterday, RG3 put out a video on his Twitter account saying that Ravens fans should stop calling for John Harbaugh's job, saying that he should be the head coach until he decides he doesn't want to be anymore, and then eventually, once the injuries kind of clear up and kind of get everything back on track, that the Ravens will get back to playing like a Raven. Obviously, I don't have the same perspective he does because he played for the Ravens and under John Harbaugh. I'm just a fan, so I can only go off of what I've seen in press conferences, different interviews, and what I've seen while they've played. And in my opinion, I don't think John Harbaugh is this horrible coach as everyone's claiming him to be. I still think he's a good coach and would succeed anywhere he goes. But in my opinion, I think the Ravens just have peaked with him as the head coach. Obviously, not including the Super Bowl back in 2012, 2013. I think in this era with John Harbaugh as the Ravens head coach, this was the peak for them. Because this year truly felt like this was their one opportunity to get to a Super Bowl. And I also understand getting to a Super Bowl is incredibly difficult year in and year out. So the Ravens have been, playoff contenders, but they've obviously struggled a lot within the playoffs. And people want to blame either John Harbaugh, blame Lamar, blame everyone else in between. But I just personally feel like John Harbaugh, his time is kind of up in Baltimore personally. Do I think it's going to happen anytime soon? No, because he did sign that extension earlier this year for 3 more years. So as I said in previous videos, he's either going to retire or go work with his brother or somewhere else, or he'll end up getting a front office job and then bring in another head coach whenever this contract extension is possibly over. I know fans want him out. Will that happen? Probably not, unless this season is just an absolute failure. But I understand the frustration. He's played for John Harbaugh. He knows what it's like to be in that building day in and day out and to see what John Harbaugh is as a person and as a head coach. So I can't really argue any of that. But just as a fan, I feel like we've seen enough of the same stuff consistently with John Harbaugh to where it's bad decision making, bad game management, and overall it's like he's a lot older, and I know older coaches are still very active in the NFL, but I just think with this Ravens team and where it's been for so long, I just think some younger, fresher blood as the head coach could work. Sadly, I think that best opportunity was Mike Macdonald not too long ago, but sadly, that ship has sailed, so there's no point of even really going on much about that. But I do agree with RG3 on one point that it is his job until he decides to either leave or retire or whatever else. He's not going anywhere anytime soon, and I know fans don't like that, but I think that's just the reality of the situation. But we'll see what happens. Maybe John Harbaugh gets fired at the end of the year. Probably doesn't, and maybe he fulfills the rest of his extension, either decides to go somewhere else, get promoted, retire, anything else in between. We'll never know until that day comes.